What is good, and welcome back to another installment of Extraordinary Sound with myself, Tokyo Extraordinary. And in this episode, I want to talk about the premix. And the premix is basically everything you do prior to mixing your song. And honestly, even before recording, I put a video out a couple months ago where I was just basically doing a rundown of what my vocal chain is and the different plugins that I use. And the comments got a little crazy, and so I kind of wanted to do like an addendum to that, to basically say, one, that plugins only enhance whatever recording you actually have. You can't start with a bad recording with the intention of, well, I'll just fix it in post with some kind of plugin. That is not the best way to approach mixing any song. And if you're not the one that's mixing it, you're making it really hard on your engineer when you say, I'm gonna just record this any kind of way and send these vocals off. So the first thing that you would want to do is just start with a good mic. If you can get a good mic, that's going to solve a good portion of your problems. I won't say 90% because there's still more than just having a good mic. You can have the most expensive mic and not know what to do with it and then still end up with trash recordings. So that's half the battle. And in a previous video, I talked about this particular microphone, the Behringer B2 Pro, reasonably priced, but it's also a quality microphone and it's also really durable. And you get a lot of functions and a lot of bang for your buck. So go take a look at that video. I'll link it somewhere in here so you can go ahead and take a look at that video if you are just starting out and you don't have a microphone. The second thing you want to pay attention to is mic placement. So if I were to start speaking back here, this sounds vastly different versus me being closer up on the mic or even being this close to the mic. You may get some distortion being this close to the mic, and the way that your voice will be picked up by the mic is going to sound different. So that's something that you want to pay attention to, and that's all personal choice. Just play around with it. Do some test recordings just to see what sounds good. If you're further back, if you're closer up, if the mic is higher, if the mic is lower, play around with that, because something as simple as mic placement can determine what your song will sound like. The third thing would be a pop filter. And it's just this thing right here. They make some that are bigger than this. They make some that are smaller than this. So you'll put this in front of your microphone, and all that it does is getting rid of some of that extra harshness for any plosive. So when I go to say anything with a P or anything that could sound really harsh to the ear, it takes a layer of that off. The fourth thing would be an isolation panel. A lot of us record in untreated rooms, so it would be good to use something that can kind of isolate your microphone and your voice from bouncing off of the walls. And so when you're recording out in the open like this, it'll get really muddy really quickly, and your mix will start to sound really cluttered because there's nothing enclosing that sound. This final fifth thing is going to be gain staging and headroom. So gain staging is making sure that your vocals are not too low or too loud. So that would be you looking at your meters, whether you're using a mixer or if everything is in the box and it's on your computer. If you're recording in Pro Tools or Logic, you can look at that meter going up and down. When you start to get in the yellow, you're getting loud. Once it hits red, you should already know distortion. You're too loud. So for me, whether I'm recording myself or I'm recording another artist, I'll have them just do some test runs. Let them sing, let them perform their song the way they're gonna perform it, and I can make my adjustments from there before I start officially recording them. Because once you start recording and your levels are so high that you're hitting red, once you go to mix that, it's already gonna be distorted. And it's the same thing if you record too low. Once you start trying to boost that sound, now you're gonna get a lot of extra hissing and extra unnecessary noise and low end because you're trying to boost up something that you could have just done in your pre-recording. And so again, like, this is just called gain staging and making sure you leave enough headroom. And headroom is just enough room for you to mix and then ultimately master. And that headroom is just making sure you don't hit the very top, which would be in your red, and that you're not so low that you have to boost your vocals to the point to where you'll end up having unnecessary hissing and low end in there. So those are my main 5 tools and tips for getting great vocals prior to mixing. This is considered the pre-mix. I hope that this helps. If it does, be sure to check out all of the other Extraordinary Sound videos, and I'll see y'all on the next one.